Jai Gurudev, Rashmin, Pulekar5, it is an honor to have you here to discuss the profound teachings of Yoga Vashistha. How are you today? Jai Gurudev, Namaste. I'm doing well, thank you. It's always a joy to share insights from such a profound text. Wonderful. Let's dive right in. Yoga Vashistha is often seen as an elaborate dialogue between Sage Vashistha and Prince Rama. How would you describe the essence of this scripture? At its core, Yoga Vashistha explores the nature of reality, the mind, and liberation. It presents a deep philosophical inquiry into the nature of existence, emphasizing the illusory nature of the world and the need for spiritual awakening. That's insightful. You mentioned the illusory nature of the world. Could you elaborate on how Yoga Vashistha conveys this concept? The text repeatedly uses metaphors and stories to illustrate that the material world, with all its phenomenon, is like a dream or illusion, Maya. It suggests that our perceptions are clouded by ignorance and desires, and true liberation, moksha, comes from transcending these illusions and realizing the self. How does Yoga Vashistha guide practitioners in transcending these illusions and achieving liberation? It provides a blend of philosophical teachings and practical guidance. The text emphasizes self-inquiry, meditation, and dispassion as tools to overcome ignorance. It encourages practitioners to cultivate a sense of equanimity and witness consciousness, where one observes the mind and its creations without getting entangled. You spoke about witness consciousness. Could you explain what it means to be in a state of witness consciousness? Witness consciousness, or Sakshi Bhav, is the practice of observing thoughts, emotions, and experiences without attachment or identification. In this state, one becomes aware of the transient nature of all phenomenon and remains rooted in the understanding that the true self is beyond these fluctuations. How can one practically cultivate this witness consciousness in everyday life? It starts with mindfulness and meditation. By regularly sitting in silence and observing the flow of thoughts without engaging with them, one can gradually develop a detached awareness. In daily activities, practicing mindfulness helps in maintaining a state of observation rather than reaction. That's a very practical advice. Yoga Vashistha also discusses the concept of non-duality. How is this conveyed in the text? Non-duality, or Advaita, is a central theme. The text teaches that the self, Atman, and the supreme reality, Brahman, are one. It uses stories and dialogues to show that the perception of duality, separation between self and others, or self and the world, is an illusion created by the mind. Realizing this oneness is key to liberation. Can you give an example from the text that illustrates this teaching of non-duality? One famous story is that of the young prince Leela and his experiences in multiple realms. Through his journey, he realizes all these realms and experiences are projections of his own mind, much like dreams. This illustrates the idea that everything we perceive as separate is essentially a manifestation of the same underlying reality. That is fascinating. How does Yoga Vashistha suggest one should deal with desires and attachments which often cloud our perception of reality? The text advises cultivating vairagya, or dispassion. It teaches that desires and attachments are products of ignorance and lead to suffering. By understanding their transient and illusory nature, and by focusing on self-inquiry and spiritual practice, one can overcome these buildings and move towards liberation. In modern times, where distractions are numerous, how can one apply the teachings of Yoga Vashistha effectively? Even in modern life, the principles remain applicable. Regular meditation, mindful living, and reflective inquiry into the nature of one's experiences can help maintain a spiritual perspective. It is about integrating these teachings into daily routines, making them a part of one's mindset and approach to life. Thank you for these deep insights, Rashmin, Pulekar5. Lastly, what is the ultimate message of Yoga Vashistha that you would like to convey to our readers before closing? The ultimate message is that true freedom and peace come from realizing the self beyond the illusions of the mind. Yoga Vashistha guides us to understand our true nature, remain centered amidst life's changes and challenges, and embrace a higher awareness. By doing so, we can live a life of profound peace and joy. Thank you, Rashmin, Pulekar5, for sharing your wisdom on Yoga Vashistha. It's been an enlightening conversation. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure discussing these timeless teachings. Namaste, Jai Gurudev.